As a graduate of Oxford Brookes, obviously she's bright, not that bright, but bright enough to join Thomson Online early in her career, working for one of the top 50 sales leaders in the UK. Basically, if you haven't, what's her surname?
Laura Moniz de Aragao.
Yeah, go again.
Laura Moniz de Aragao.
Try again.
Laura Moniz de Aragao.
We'll send you the link because we do love Laura, and her husband is the sales leader for G2, and I think we've got a G2 representative in the room. Good man. So she's also invested time in becoming a mental health first aider, and she's successfully gone on to develop her BDR career at Nudge, but she's had some difficult times and she's overcome the process and everything she's done. But she's absolutely focused on perseverance and overcoming the setbacks that we get every day in this profession. So can we have a round of applause, please, for our next speaker, Lucy Carter. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Stand a bit forward.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks, James, for having me here today. It's almost ironic because your name is James Ski and I've just come back from a skiing trip. And that's happened, so... so my talk today is all about mental health, as James said, and I've got my makeshift note cards as well because I get nervous presenting. I made these the other day. So basically, we all know that if we're in a healthy state of mind, we're more productive and we're more engaged. So how many of you have got onto a sales call in the wrong frame of mind? What's happened? Has it gone well? Probably not. And think about the times when you've gone into a sales call, we're in a really positive state of mind, and it's gone really well. So for example, maybe you've just closed a sale, or try not to walk, that's not a good idea. Maybe you've just closed a sale, just had a really good conversation with a prospect. Remember how good that feeling was. I'll come back to that later, but just remember that feeling. I'm going to tell you a bit about my own personal journey as well, and I hope it resonates with some of you. So for a while, I suffered from quite poor mental health. Finished university, moved to London, worked as a BDR for a large tech organisation. And I was really excited about the role, but was really quickly overcome by the pressures of a sales role. I was also really young, inexperienced, and that combination of, on the one hand, getting used to having a proper job, i.e. you are responsible for the success of the business, as well as wanting to impress your first employers by exceeding those monthly targets, to, on the other hand, being new to London, wanting to party as if you haven't left university yet, and spending way more than you're earning on clothes, coffee, going out, etc. It's quite tough to balance. But I knew I always wanted to be in sales. What I hadn't realised was the impact it would have on my state of mind. So at the end of the day, sales is a numbers game, but the pressures you put on yourself, for example, to exceed those monthly targets, or that constant rejection, can be quite mentally and physically draining. Hence why I've come here to give you the facts, the reality, and then what you can do if you or your colleagues are suffering from poor mental health. So starting with the facts, think about this. 1 in 4 of us will have a mental health issue during our lifetime. But 4 out of 4 of us actually have mental health. We all have emotions, but unlike our physical health, it's a lot harder to spot. So last year alone, mental health issues cost the UK employers £45 billion. And about 2.8 million working days were lost because of work-related stress, anxiety and depression. And no one's immune. You look at the CEO of Lloyd's who had to take 8 weeks off due to stress. Doesn't matter what stage you are in your career, happens to everyone. But the percentage of salespeople who suffer is actually likely to be a lot higher. We're often adrenaline junkies. The emotional high you get is also counterbalanced, which is when you don't get the sale, you miss your target. We've all ridden on the peaks and troughs of emotions. But in fact, a role in sales is actually one of the top 10 careers with the highest rates of work-related stress, anxiety and depression. But why is that? When we think of how to describe a stereotypical salesperson, words like charming, charismatic, always well presented, positive, always smiling might come to mind. You're always performing, always living your best life. We're all very good at putting on this performance, but you scratch below the surface and look at the reality beyond what people see on the outside. I'm talking about that fear and anxiety of missing your numbers, losing a sale, the pressure to get a document signed, the constant rejection and undelivered emails, unpredictable or long hours. Sometimes it's quite hard to stay positive. Some of us are insecure, we get nervous, emotional at times, and often even have imposter syndrome. I absolutely have that right now, standing here and presenting to you guys today. But these day-to-day experiences that we as salespeople encounter are emotionally stressful and can jeopardize your emotional and mental well-being. And maybe it is to do with that constant performance that you have to put on. We find it a lot easier to hide how we actually feel, to fake it till we make it. And some salespeople thrive off this stress, and it can make you more resilient and hungry for more. Those days are addictive, but you can't have the good days without having the bad days as well. And it's important to recognize the difference between the unhealthy amounts of stress and the healthy amounts of stress. Because ultimately, if a salesperson has too much of the unhealthy stress, they're not going to perform well, which means they might risk not hitting their targets, bringing more pressures and stress, and you can see it's just a vicious circle. We all sign up to this creed of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Going through stressful situations does make you more resilient. But there's a fine line between becoming more resilient and going down the spiral of self-destruction. So how can we find that balance? So if I want you to leave the room with anything, if you forget everything else I've said, these are my 3 key takeaways. Firstly, your well-being is absolutely number 1. A healthy, balanced diet, exercise, and getting enough sleep are obvious recommendations, but it's important to take time to find out what works best for you. So, for example, mindfulness has really helped me to take a step back from my thoughts and emotions, recognizing the danger signs of anxiety or depression. So you could take yourself off for a walk, for example, to clear your mind. Fresh air always helps. The second one is look out for your colleagues. And this became really real for me when I noticed one of my colleagues starting to withdraw herself from work and social situations. I went and talked to her and she opened up about how she was feeling. So even at work, when sometimes friendships can seem artificial, just simply asking someone, "Are you okay?" or "Would you like to go grab a coffee?" can make a huge difference to someone's life. And this is also one of the reasons why I became a mental health first aider at Nudge, because I really wanted to make a difference in my own workplace. And finally, take a look at what support your company is giving you. Do they offer any forms of well-being, whether that be physical, financial, or mental? Do you have an employee assistance program or EAP? If they don't, then do something about it. My last bit is a quote from Steve Jobs, who said, "Man is the creator of change." And what this means is, instead of waiting around for something to happen, be the one who makes a change.